Abiyonomics and its discontents. In a recent address, Abiy Ahmed presented his goals for Ethiopia as happiness, harmony, and human excellence, dismissing immediate needs like poverty alleviation and food security. This approach reflects his regime's failure to address rampant poverty and food insecurity, highlighting a lack of effective economic strategies amid rising discontent among citizens. Biruk Harigu.
This comes on the heels of his past statement on October 2, 2023, regarding his strategy for poverty reduction. He stated, "Our belief is that we must see prosperity instead of poverty, happiness instead of problems, and peace instead of conflict. This requires a change in perspective and the power of our imagination. In other words, poverty is a state of mind and something that can be overcome with a simple change in perspective, both at the individual and country level. Of course, economic policy, poverty alleviation, and food security are not the lackadaisical and haphazard processes that Abiy suggests. Rather, effective policymaking rests on a strategic and evidence-based approach to policy formulation, implementation, and evaluation. To suggest otherwise and engage in deceptive political rhetoric and wishful thinking in a country where poverty and food insecurity are persistent and endemic is not only deeply problematic, but it is a dereliction of duty." Unfortunately, such statements have become emblematic of Abiy and his prosperity regime, a beleaguered regime lacking capacity to deliver socio-economic growth and development. In 6 years, the regime has proved to be completely out of touch, non-credible, corrupt, unaccountable, deceitful, and without a modicum of regard for citizens and the public good. Perhaps most significantly, his latest statement is further confirmation that Abiy does not have a sound economic strategy. On the one hand, Abiy falsely claims to have delivered prosperity and food security, while on the other hand, he mocks citizens' need for adequate food and nutrition amid increasing levels of conflict, poverty, and inequality. Unfortunately, as a consequence of Abiy's poor governance, Ethiopia is mired in conflict, poverty, and remains food insecure. In this regard, 1. 72% of the population is in abject poverty, with an additional 18% on the cusp of poverty. 2. Poverty is rapidly rising in every region of the country. 3. More than 20 million citizens need emergency food aid. 4. 5.4 of 6 million citizens in Tigray need food aid. 5. More than 5,500 schools have closed due to conflict and instability, of which 4,178 are in Amhara. And 6. 5.1 million internally displaced persons need humanitarian assistance, including food, shelter, and hygienic services. These challenges are in addition to the ongoing war on Amhara, where Abiy is orchestrating a senseless and brutal war. Utilizing a recent Afrobarometer survey, the Ethiopian Policy Institute, EPI, comprehensively outlines the extent to which Abiyonomics has mired Ethiopians in poverty and discontent. For example, the vast majority of citizens lack basic necessities, including cash income, 87%, water 65%, medical care 65%, food 60%, and cooking oil 46%. More broadly, in his unintelligible rant, Abiy confuses cause and effect. His so-called 3 H's are effects, or outcomes, that emanate from sound public policies that address the root causes of discontent, namely, the lack of peace, security, justice, the rule of law, health, education, food security, etc. In this regard, his beleaguered regime has demonstrably shown that it is incapable of ensuring basic needs and addressing the root causes devastating the lives and livelihoods of citizens. Yet ironically, Abiy claims outcomes such as happiness, harmony, and human excellence. Of course, among the many contradictions in his statement is that food security is a prerequisite for attaining his so-called 3 H's, and food and nutrition are directly related to health outcomes, educational outcomes, and human capital development, what Abiy terms human excellence. Abiy's latest nonsensical statement has been received with a combination of shock and amusement by the Ethiopian public. For the Ethiopian public, what is abundantly clear is that Abiy engages in and thrives on unintelligible, non-tangible, and unfounded political rhetoric and sloganeering. Ethiopians must move on from such vacuous, cruel, and deceitful leadership, the sooner the better.